All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Juan Carlos Lopez. I am the director of the Virtual Maple Leaf Teaching and Learning Center. And I am the one that has been sending those emails to invite you to this session. I am currently in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. I work at Acadia University. I say this because I'm a settler and I'm an immigrant in these lands, and I like to acknowledge this, and in doing so, I'm following the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. And one of the things that I have learned, particularly as being an immigrant and being new to this, is that I need to listen. And as a very good colleague of mine always says, listen and then listen, and then listen some more. And when you are done listening, then listen some more again, so that I learn. And I want to learn what has happened. I want to learn the consequences of that, so that we can move towards reconciliation. So that's why I make this acknowledgement, and that's part of my commitment as a person. I also want to acknowledge that there are several ways of African descent people that have come to these lands, and the record goes past 400 years, and I also want to acknowledge that I'm listening and learning about that, and in doing so, I'm wishing for a better life and more harmonious way of living for all of us who are now in this land. So thank you for joining us. I won't take more of Jonathan's time. I just want to say that Jonathan Hood is a professor of sport management and at the Gerald Schwartz School of Business as a sign of X, and he's coming today to talk to us about communicating to connect, the power of mentorship in the learning process. So I'm not going to steal more time from Jonathan, and I'm just going to let you take it away. So go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. To echo my good friend Juan Carlos, we are on Mi'kmaq land. That's where I'm a professor at St. FX, and this is where we reside. And we share the land. And through the treaties and agreements and reconciliation, we're trying to really rebuild and work together and collaborate in sharing the space, in sharing practices, in sharing cultures. So that's our goal. I really like what you said, JC, about learning. It is a lot about learning, being open to learning to different ways and to the different people that were here before us. So to get started, I'd like to get started with an activity. But first, I noticed that there are a lot of cameras off, okay? You all are reminding me of my students back during the COVID time, okay? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to invite you all to turn on. I understand everybody has different reasons for not or for are. If you're just listening in and still doing work, that's okay. We won't judge you, right? But we would love to see you, and we'd love to get you involved, right? And here's how we're going to get you involved. When you're excited about something, I want you to go like this right there, right? Yes. Go like this. Yeah, Bryn's got it. I think Bryn just yelled something out, right? We can't hear you, but we can feel you, Bryn. We can feel everybody. Now I feel like I don't feel like I'm just speaking to a some steel and a computer screen, right? Thank you so much. To kick it off, I love the mentee meter. Hopefully some of you all know this and use it in your classes. I love the mentee. Please join the mentee. Go to mentee.com, put in this code 65588650. Here we go. We're going to get it started. I want you to type a word to describe how you're feeling. Wow, someone's just on it. Great. How are you feeling right now? And don't be shy. This is anonymous. Yes, hungry. It's lunchtime. And feel free to eat while you're on here. Feel free to eat. right? The cool thing about being online is you can multitask, right? Many will argue that you cannot multitask, but you can eat and listen, I think. Unusual, I like that one. Busy, yeah, it's that time of year. Great, happy, sunny. Yes, I can feel your rays shining upon me. Inspired. You're inspired already. I'm inspired that you're inspired. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for participating. I love to use the mentees to get things kicked off, to really get to understanding who you are and where you're at right now. Who you are and where you're at right now. I think that is imperative to the learning process. So here we go. Communicating to connect. Everybody say connect. Connect. I know you're muted, but you can still participate. As we spoke about before, we share this land and we acknowledge that we are all treaty people here. So we did a bit of an introduction just to figure out where everybody is at right now. I hope you can see that there were a range of answers, right? So when people come into the spaces like this, to engage in workshops and such, to engage in a classroom environment, in a learning environment, there's so many different things going on, right? I don't know how I'm feeling right now. I'm just unusual. I'm not my regular self. I feel so sunny. I feel bright. Oh my goodness, I'm so busy. There's so many things going on. We all come from different walks of life. We all are dealing with different challenges and adversity. And we all have found a way to come here with, despite all of those things, right? So you made it. You made it, and I'm happy to have you here. Here's a schedule for what we're going to talk about, what we're going to get into today, what we're going to share. We're going to have a power station. To me, that is what I call a powerful conversation. During this conversation, I may do most of the talking, but you will have an opportunity to share. You will have an opportunity to speak. And I hope that you are able to take something good out of it. So we're going to get to know each other, see where we're at, understand even maybe where we're coming from, some perspectives. We're going to talk a little bit about what mentorship is. We're going to talk about who is mentorship, like where does it come from? And then we'll share strategies on how to be a good mentor. Here are some of our objectives of the day. If we can hit one or even get close, I think we are on our way to success, or we've achieved success. We want to learn from one another. We want to leave with a deeper understanding of ourselves and how we are what we teach. We are what we teach. And number 3, we want to teach one another. I'm just a facilitator here. Please remember that. Patricia Schroeder says, if you want to change the world, you change the world of a child. Now, I've had the pleasure of being mentored. And because of my personal experience, I am very, very passionate about youth mentorship. So what is youth mentorship? Youth mentors are people who guide, they lead, they impart wisdom and share experiences with young people. They give support, they facilitate personal, social, and educational development. And really, at the end of the day, they're on this journey with others to help them reach their full potential. Now, in my story, I was a young person, some would say a young lad, in some cultures would say a young boy, right? But I was a young person with a lot of energy, a lot of energy. And here are some of the outcomes that youth mentorship had for me. Built my self-esteem and confidence, developed my ability, my emotional intelligence, and helped me learn and grow. Now, when I was a lad, this isn't me. This is my mini me. I got in a bit of trouble. And in this instance, I barbecued some ribs and turned my back to go get some barbecue sauce. And he got into the ribs. He climbed the table and got into the ribs. This is Jalen. This is my son, Jalen, right? So Jalen reminds me a lot of myself, a young individual getting into things, right? A young individual getting into things. And as a young individual getting into things, I had a lot of energy. And in some settings, having a lot of energy is not always a good thing, right? You know, if you're physically active and you're working out or you're playing sports or games, or even able to direct that energy to your studies, it's a great thing. But if there are no outlets, typically the energy isn't used for good. Sometimes it's used for stealing other people's tractors at the farm and riding away with them. It isn't always used for good. So for me, I got in a little bit of trouble. I was in my early teen years at a high school in a setting that wasn't the best for me. So I like to compare it to a seed. And we all know, type in the chat, there's 3 things that a seed needs to flourish and grow. What are those things? 3 things a seed needs to flourish and grow. Water, soil, sun. Perfect. Water, sunshine. Excellent. 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 So I was a seed. And in the environment that I was in, I wasn't really growing and flourishing. It wasn't that I was a bad seed. It was that the environment, the soil, wasn't conducive to my growth. What was being poured into me wasn't the right stuff to get something good out of me. I didn't feel like I was being loved on, like the sun was shining on me. Some people were shining on me every single day. It wasn't until I changed schools, and it was kind of forcibly asked to change schools. But once I got into this new environment, things really shifted for me. The environment was such that the teachers, the coaches, the librarians, they had this kind of shared vision for my growth. They cared about me in a different way. And being back into the Maritimes, I really, really feel that because of the maritime hospitality, right? Come over for dinner. You can stay at my house anytime you want. When I actually came to Atlantic Canada, I was a little taken aback by it. I was like, whoa, why do people want me to come to their house? What do they want to do with me? What's going on here? But I embraced it and I love being where we are right now. So I'm a seed in the wrong soil. I go to a better soil. I'm seeing teachers, coaches, leaders in my environment who are shining down on me. They're watering me. They're pouring into me. I'm doing better. I'm growing. I have roots getting deep. I'm growing. I have people challenging me. One time, one of my coaches came to me and said, "You're going to read the morning announcements." Morning announcements? No, I'm not. Like, I'm not doing that. Said, "Yes, you are. You're going to read the morning announcements. I want you to go to the office today and prepare for tomorrow," right? Because I trusted this individual, this mentor, I did as I was asked. But it was really reluctantly. I was not wanting to be in the spotlight on the announcements, speaking to everyone in the school, especially in the morning. But I did it. And the first time, I was scared. I remember it. Fear pulsing through my veins. I thought my heart was going to beat through my eardrums as I spoke. Good morning. Good morning, school. And I read the announcements. After I read the announcements, I went around the school. Actually, I tiptoed around the school, kind of like, because I wasn't sure who would see me and who might crack a joke. That was terrible, Jonathan. What are you doing? But to my surprise, people loved it. It's like, yo, was that you on the announcement? That was awesome. Like, man, that was good. Like, yo, I didn't know you could speak like that. I was like, what? This is actually good. So I was asked to do this over and over and over again. and I developed a skill. I actually developed a strength that I had inside of me that I didn't know, but one of my mentors did. So it was through the challenge brought on by mentorship that I was able to develop. Now, not everybody has those opportunities to grow and develop, but I believe that everybody on this call is an educator and a mentor of sorts. If you were in person, I'd say turn to your neighbor and say, it's in you. Mentorship is in you. Leadership is in you. There are many people who look up to you. Many, many people. They could be younger, they could be older. They're looking to you for guidance. They're looking to you for shared experiences. They're looking to you to understand the strengths that are inside of them and help pull them out. Because typically, these strengths are seen as negative appraisals, right? I used to talk a lot. My mom, she's Jamaican. And Jamaican moms, when you talk too much, they say, you talk too much. That means you talk too much, right? So she kind of looked at it as a negative thing, right? When I got older, I started doing some speaking engagements. She got to come see me. I said, Mom, remember you used to say talk too much? I get paid to speak right now. How you like that? She's like, oh, she's like, I knew you'd be able to turn that into something good, right? But it's not always that people see the good, see the strengths and the things that you do. But I'm convinced, I have faith that the people in this room can. So we are going to get into breakout rooms and do an activity. Now, this activity is called Spot the Strength. And what I want you to do is we've got 21 people on the call. So let's get into, we'll do about 4 or 5 groups. And I would love for someone to volunteer to share a challenge in which they have overcome. Share a challenge that you've overcome. The group is going to listen, and then the group is going to comment on some of the strengths that you demonstrated while going through that challenge. Okay? So think of a challenge that you have overcome. We'll give you maybe 5 minutes, maybe be able to share. 2 people may be able to share a challenge, maybe even more. And then we'll bring you back in and we'll debrief and talk about that and apply it to mentorship. All right, sound good? Let me get the jazz fingers if it sounds good. Okay. You will be randomly selected into the breakout rooms. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go with 5. So you should get a little icon, maybe a little red exclamation point that says you've been assigned to a breakout room. You can hit that and go to your room. So people are making their way back to the main room. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to pull back up a Menti, and I'm going to let everyone share a little bit in the Menti, and then if you want to share, if you want to unmute your mic and share, I'll give some people opportunity to do that as well. So we're in the same code, just in case, or in case you are just coming. Menti.com. The code is, I'll put the code in the chat. Okay. And this question is pertaining to some of the strengths that you adapting, persistence, perseverance, patience, encouraging, pushing boundaries, caring, creative, flexible, perseverance, commitment, believing in yourself. Very good, very good. Does anyone want to share how the experience was for them? I think I can't see all the cameras, but if there's a little thing that says reaction somewhere or something like that. Recognize hand gestures, where is it? There's a way to put your hand up. That's what I'm saying. Or you can you can share through the chat. Anyone want to share how that was for them?
I can share.
Go ahead. Thank you, Brent.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was really nice. Met with lovely people. It was Jeannie we got to meet and Carla, and I can remember the other name for sure. Having a brain fart. It's Kim. So yeah, but just nice get to talk to everyone. And Carla shared a story about her son Lucas and just learning to ride a bike and how he was really, really nervous to do it. And finally it was like the day just had to go and sort of took her strength and encouragement and care and patience and realized that it wasn't so hard. So this idea of like overcoming something that felt really big and scary, and then really helping him to overcome that and see that it was possible. So it was really nice. And yeah, it's a really supportive group and nice to hear the different sort of mentorship programs they were talking about. But yeah, it was lovely, a really cool breakout room.
Excellent. Let's give Brent a little celebration for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Okay, very good. We've got a lot of strengths. So what does this mean? It means that as a group, we are very talented. We have a lot in our toolbox to use when leading, guiding, and teaching others. So now when it comes to mentorship, there is theory behind it. I'm going to breeze through this really quickly. Self-determination theory means that motivation comes from three things. When people feel like they have control over their lives, what they can do, when they feel like they can work and build a skill, competence, and they feel connected to others. The stress buffer hypothesis says that when you perceive that you're supported by others, your feelings and levels of stress go down. And positive youth development says that youth are individuals with strengths, and those strengths are unlocked with positive engagement, led by caring adults through the different environments that they are navigating through, right? So here are some outcomes of mentorship: strengthened sense of identity, belonging, emotional intelligence, sharpening those skills, having a greater understanding of themselves, and purpose. So now, what does this have to do with teaching? So in my experience, as I shared my own story, to continue it on, I went to university. And I actually wasn't really planning on going to university. I love to cook. I love to cook. I still love to cook. And I'm from Ontario. I was planning on going to either Humber College or George Brown College, getting my red seal, which permits me to work as a chef around the world. I was going to travel and I was going to cook. Had my plan set out. But I had mentors who saw something else. Those mentors kind of steered and guided me towards the university. I ended up going to St. FX. And as I alluded to a little bit, my initial introduction to St. FX was I was a little shell shocked, to say the least. And it took a while for me to adjust. The great thing was that at St. FX, I had mentors. And what do I mean when I say I had mentors? It means I had people who cared about and supported me as a person, not just as a student number trying to achieve marks. It was as a person, right? As a person. So one thing that really stands out to me is my coach. I played football at St. FX. He had a good eye. He's very observant, and he saw that I was struggling. And because of that, he didn't think if I continued to struggle that I would stay at St. FX. So He connected me with counselors on campus to speak to talk to work things out, to learn some skills and how to cope with what I was going through. And it helped me tremendously. Other teachers, profs, people on campus, faculty, staff, they just seem to care. Walking down the halls, walking across campus, they said hi. They asked me how things were going. They knew I played football. They asked me about football. Whether they watched every game or not, their investment in something that was important to me meant a lot to me. And it helped me feel like I was supported. As the research demonstrates, helps lower the feelings of stress. Mentorship. So the mentorship that I experienced in high school led me to university. Mentorship in university now is leading me somewhere else. I'm in university, not the best student academically. I was very smart. I could reason my way through high school, had high marks. But in university, you actually had to set time aside and apply yourself. I wasn't the best at doing that if it didn't have to do with sports or cooking. And I had a prof. He's a pretty well-known prof from the psychology department at Pencer. And he kind of saw where I was going and he challenged me. And he challenged me in a way with a mark. I got a low mark on something and I went to him and I was like, well, I did the assignment. Why is my mark low? He said, you did the assignment, but did you actually apply yourself to the assignment? And I was like, well, you see this finished work. The assignment's done. If I didn't apply myself, it wouldn't be done. So no, I think there's more in you. I don't think that's your best work. So I naturally got upset. I felt like I was being challenged. And I was like, why is this guy challenging me? I'm here to get marks and go, right? But then one of my other mentors from high school still, one of my coaches, spoke to him about it. And he said, no, there's more. There's way more to university just getting marks and leaving. And I like to use the analogy of squeezing the juice, right? If I'm making orange juice, got the orange, and I put it on the thing where I squeeze it. I want to squeeze all the juice out of the orange, right? I don't want to leave any of it. I want to waste it. It's precious orange. I want my orange juice. I'm going to squeeze the juice out of it. So what I said to myself, okay, this university thing, I want to get the most out of it. How can I squeeze the juice out of this opportunity? I started going to the different talks that were put on by the university. I started going to join societies and groups. I started really getting involved in embracing the Zavurian culture, and it really helped me. I was so late in blooming, I didn't choose my major to my third year. You're supposed to pick your second year. I waited, I kind of procrastinated. In my third year, I chose to do an honors in psychology. Because I chose that route, I had to redo a couple courses and take a few extra courses. I did that in the summer. And it was tough, significant challenge in my life. But because I felt supported and because I had a purpose, I wanted to do this. And I did it, ended up graduating, ended up getting involved in research. It's like, what am I doing in research? Research is not for me. I don't see a lot of people that play sports that look like me in research. Why would I want to be in research? My supervisor really broke it down quite simply. He said, here's what research is all about. You like exploring, you like investigating, you like learning new things. Here's what it's about. Here's what we can do. So I started getting into research. Now, why am I sharing all of this? It's very hard to give someone what you don't have. We all shared these experiences because mentorship to me is really connecting with someone else and sharing who you are. And your experiences contribute to who you are. Your experience is what you learn from them, what you take from them, how they impact you. They contribute to who you are. So in my walk, my journey with students semester after semester, I use my personal stories to share with them to help connect with them on a mentor, teacher, professor, student level, and to also encourage them that, hey, we're all going through some kind of struggle. Here's how I got through it. You may not get it through it the same way. Actually, your experience may be quite different than mine because you just aren't me. However, I find that young people gain some encouragement, they gain some tools, they gain something when things are shared with them, right? A lot of parents, they say to me, it's like, well, just tell the students or tell them that, or, tell your son this. I'm like, do you have kids? Like, you do you lead people? Most of the time, if you tell someone what to do, the first thing they might do is, whoa, 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 whoa. Why? Because you're taking away their autonomy. But if I share a story with you and encourage you, I may be able to influence your behavior in a positive way. Now, I don't know exactly what you need to do in making your own decisions, but I can get you to look at it from a different perspective or to consider something else just by sharing my own. So, how do we become better mentors? How do we incorporate mentorship into our practices? We share. I would not ask someone to do something that I would not do myself first. In my classrooms, I ask my students to be honest. In my classrooms, I ask my students to contribute to creating an inclusive teaching environment. In my classes, I rely on my students heavily. And in order to get them to do that, I share my experiences. One experience I share, because we do a lot of critical thinking, we do a lot of challenging. Sometimes we get into arguments and debates. And if you walk by, you may think we don't like each other. But it's all in the name of education and learning. And I say, don't take things personal. And as a mentor, we shouldn't take things personal. One year I was teaching my early years of teaching. It's a midterm time. I think I gave back a midterm. A student wasn't happy with their mark. Student got up in the middle of class, started yelling at me. Sir, what is it? And this, and this, and this. And from being observant, I know that this student is not typical behavior of the student. But imagine the thoughts that are going through my mind. Whoa, this student's disrespecting me in front of the rest of the class. Maybe I need to assert my power, gain control of this environment. On the other side, it's like, hey, this student must be going through something. If they're acting this much out of character, maybe you should do something about it. So I chose the latter and I just stopped. I let the student express themselves. I gave them space to be themselves, right? And a couple of other students kind of jumped up and was like, hey, be quiet, you're being rude or this. And I said, it's okay. This student just needs a little bit of time, right? Not all of us have a safe place, a safe space to completely be ourselves. We're constantly judged. So at least the student felt comfortable to say what was on their mind. It's okay. They were finished. I said, are you okay? Need to take a walk? Need a break? Need anything? We'll chat after class. And after class, when we spoke, the student apologized. The student said, sure, I'm just going through a lot. This is happening, that is happening, this is happening. I'm really sorry, right? And it showed me that the student is kind of like me. It's a lot like me, going through different things. And in different settings, we may have to kind of push those things to the side. We all heard about it in the stories that we shared when we overcame challenges. The other thing, though, is we don't all have a different outlet, a safe space to express what we feel, right? And this student felt safe enough to express that with me. So it was a good thing. And some people may look at it different. They may say, oh, you were kind of used as a whipping post, or that's abusive. And yeah, I can definitely see that perspective. But for me in my classroom, I really communicate that we want to be critical of ideas and not of people. And because we're critical of ideas, not to take it personal if someone gets a little turned up about your opinion or your idea. It's not personal, right? We're in a space of challenging. We're in a space of critical thinking. We're in a space where emotions can get high. We don't want to leave feeling like we were personally attacked, right? And I think as a mentor, it is imperative that we observe so we know. We know our students. We know our children. We know the people that we're leading. It's imperative that we share. Give first so that people feel comfortable to give back. Rather than point the finger and tell someone what to do, share with them your experiences. Ask them what are some of the options that they can do. See, maybe they don't have a safe space to even sort the things out, the ideas and strategies that they have going on in their minds, right? Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. We are all going through things. Imagine if every single one of us had a person, an environment, a something where we can go and just kind of let it all out. Imagine if every single day you felt completely free to be yourself unapologetically. Some of us have achieved that. Some of us are working towards that. This is just part of life. But imagine the situation that students are in. It's probably even exponentially intense for them because they're really just learning how to navigate through that. So you can imagine my classrooms and the settings. There's a lot of engagement. At times I call on students who don't raise their hands, and I can see the fear and terror in their eyes, right? But after I go to them and say, hey, you did a great job. It's good. This is the safest environment that you could speak up because we're all here learning how to speak up, how to be public speakers, right? When you get into the real world, not the real world, but you get into the professional world, people expect you to know this skill. They're a little less forgiving, right? I didn't realize how fast the 60 minutes would go, but I want to end with one more mentee because I know that there are years of experience in this call, and I would like to hear some strategies of mentorship, some strategies of classroom management, some strategies of dealing with relationships from you all, because I came here to learn as well. It's a power station, remember. It's a two-way thing. I did a little bit more talking, but I am learning. I was able to sit in on a few of the stories that people were sharing, and I was inspired. I'm inspired by you all. I've been influenced personally by many of you, and just really being on this call, I really appreciate it because there's some people from our school that I rarely get a chance to engage with, but they've found themselves on this call, and I appreciate that because this is an opportunity that I get to engage with you. And it's the same way that I take the same approach that I take with students. We have the ability to engage with them in the different classes and the different on-campus settings. So why not engage? Why not engage on a human level? Not just do this and do that and make this deadline and not make that deadline. Engage. We're people first. We are people thinking, feeling things first. Ask people to share something that catches their interest. That's amazing. Nature walks. Oh yeah, getting out. Very, very good. Very, very good. I know some profs who do a lot of experiential learning in their classrooms. They take students right off campus. It's so impactful. Sharing opportunities that arise in case another may not be aware. Yes, yes, communicate, share, be open. I often share, this student emailed me about this, and I was so proud of them because they overcame their fear of reaching out to the prof, right? Typically, you'll have a lot of the same things that students are going through. When you vocalize and share, you kind of touch many students without directly communicating with them. Don't take it personally. It's important to take your ego and judgment out of the conversation and meet everyone where they are. Open conversation. Take a second to compose your own thoughts, before reacting and responding. Journal reflections, great way to connect. Yes. Create a classroom community, small random groups working together and sharing their learning. Be open and clear. Teaching is an experiment. Yes, it is. It really is, isn't it? We're just trying a bunch of things. Our son is 21 months about, and we're just trying a bunch of things and seeing what sticks. Awesome. And the cool thing about it is you don't really know. You'll know, you might see a few short-term things, but you don't really know till a year after, 2 years after, or maybe when your students or the people you lead are in a senior position, right? So this is our time. I think I kind of went over. I really got into kind of the flow of things. This is a topic I'm very passionate about. So thank you all for being with me. Give yourselves an online round of applause. Um, if we are able to, Juan Carlos, can we take a few questions, comments? I'm young in this teaching and mentorship game. Been doing it for about 10 years of mentorship, maybe a little bit more informally. And this is my 6th year teaching.
We are at 12:59 here in the Atlantic. So, I understand that some people may have things to go to, but if you can stick around and ask questions, you're welcome to do so. And then we can continue a little bit. So if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and ask.
Yes, I do have a couple of questions. You didn't talk about cross-racial mentoring and its unique difficulties, particularly being an effective mentor, and willingness to discuss race and stereotypes. So I just want to have some feedback about your thoughts on that.
Yes, that is a great, especially now. When we brought equity and diversity to the forefront to the front of the table. The way I approach mentorship is from a human perspective. It's a human perspective. I understand that we come from different backgrounds. I understand that we are from different races and we have different experiences, right? And so my philosophy is if I approach you with an open mind and willingness to learn, I think I'm coming from a place of love. I don't know, I cannot relate to everyone's experiences, but what I can do is being open to create space and to listen. So on one end, I would say just be open. And with being open, you have to be open to not understanding. You have to be open to not knowing. As a mentor, you're sharing your experiences. You're not telling someone what to do. You're sharing and creating a space. So if you're being very observant, you may be able to find some ways in which creating an open space helps that individual be comfortable with sharing with you. And you may even have to ask questions. Hey, does this make you feel comfortable? Or does this not make you feel comfortable? Some people are naturally intimidated by me. I'm a little over 6 feet tall. I'm a pretty big individual. And students say in student feedback questionnaires that I'm intimidating. And they say things like, I leave class crying. Just 1 out of 60 students or 1 out of 160 students may say that. Does that mean I didn't do a good job? I don't think so. I think it means that I may not have been able to relate with that person on the level that they needed to at the moment. And so they may have interpreted me and what I was delivering in a certain way. But if I firmly believe that if you come from a place of openness and willingness to learn, not willingness to impart or tell or teach or preach or anything like that, then you create an environment that gets deeper than what's on the outside. And I would say that to encourage someone who is mentoring people from different groups, like I would say everyone I mentor is from a different group. That's just it. Everyone I mentor is a different, they could be the way they view gender, the way they view race, it could be the way they were raised. They're just different. So just start from the baseline, right? I'm human, you're human. You have a heart and a mind and a spirit, a soul. We can connect that way, and try and look at it that way, and be open to being criticized if the person doesn't feel like you don't relate. That's okay. I have not been mentored by everyone, and I have not been successful at mentoring everyone. So it's okay if you don't connect with some people on a certain level. thank you for that question and prompt for comment.
Any other questions or comments? Last call. Any questions or comments?
I'd like to share one last story. So I wasn't someone who saw myself as a researcher. And I wonder if there are students who have the same ideas in their minds. So last year I said, I'm going to start a research lab. And in this lab, I'm going to make it clear that you can join to learn about research. You may like looking things up. You're doing Google searches all the time. There's research. You may like checking things out. Come to the lab. We're going to meet twice a month. And we're going to talk about things like developing a research question. We're going to talk about things about doing article searches. We're going to talk about all these different topics. You can contribute as much as you want. If you have a research project, maybe you need some help, you can volunteer. Maybe there's some opportunities for a grant. I had 9 students join the lab, most of which had very little research experience. We're at an undergraduate university. The lab started in February. As of now, we've had 9 students. The students in my lab have gotten about $45,000 worth of funding. They've done their own projects. They're presenting at conferences. And it's because of my experience, right? I said, this is something that helped me. I wonder if someone else is feeling the same way. And there were a few people feeling the same way. So they benefited from something that I benefited from my mentors years ago. So I firmly believe that these challenges and the experiences that we have are for purpose, for a reason, right? The things that make you upset are typically the things you're passionate about making a change. So why not be a vehicle for those who may be feeling the same way too? Not everyone's going to feel the same way. There's people who I went to school with who are amazing researchers, who are engaged in research from the beginning of their university career, but there are people who aren't. There are people who would like an opportunity, they just don't have it. So I open opportunities for 1, 2, 3, maybe 9 students, maybe 50, and see what happens, right? And it's something you are well versed in because you experienced that, right? So there's something there that you can really relate to. And I find that young people feel that because it's authentic. It's authentic. Like, it's hard for me to say, like, I know, Megan, I know what you're going through right now. I don't. we're from the same country maybe, but you've been through much different things and your perspective is so much different than mine. But I do know what I've gone through and how I felt, and I could share that and use that as a tool to engage other people and help them if they're going through some similar challenges as well.
Thank you, Jonathan. That's really inspiring of taking our emotions and putting them to work.
Thank you, everyone.
So thank you for coming and thank you for sticking around. And we will be cleaning this recording, and you will receive an email once it's live for you to access and revisit again. So thank you very much for coming and joining us.